leading forces on the left in those races, and he's a real hero for having withstood that. The next question for Scott Walker is, how does he execute his campaign plan, and can he connect to all these voters in these early states? He's in a great position to get the nomination.
Well, if he leads in the polls, Caroline, why does he have to rush to announce?
Well, he's rushing to announce so that he can break his way through the clutter. I mean, we are seeing the biggest field that we've ever seen if all of these candidates run in the history of presidential politics. And the entrance into the race to really be a serious contender is $100 million. So candidates obviously are trying to stretch out that free media as much as they possibly can. Scott Walker is up with Rubio and up with Bush right now, and the three candidates are actually quite divergent. Scott Walker may be a hero to some, but he really went after the working class, so I think he'll have a difficult time in the general election if he's a Republican Party nominee.
Well, I've noticed since all this conversation about Jeb Bush, Caroline, about raising money and not declaring, how come none of the other Republican candidates are working him over about that?
Well, I don't think that that's, I think that they don't want the bloodbath this early. They're waiting for someone to emerge, and these three candidates are only riding at about somewhere between 10 and 13%. So until they actually have a front runner, I don't think that they're going to turn much on each other. I do think this will be one of the bloodiest Republican battles simply because of the sheer numbers in the race.
Matt, is Bush legal?
Yes, he's legal. The fact is these other candidates are just jealous because, let's face it, he's able to raise tremendous amounts of money legally for his super PAC before he announces. So, he will withstand all these legal challenges. He's not doing anything against the law. And the fact is, he will be, I assume, he will make a decision to run soon, and all this will be forgotten.
What about Rick Perry? He's got legal problems in Texas. What's he doing thinking about running for president, Matt?
I think if you were to ask him, he'd say the voters deserve another chance to see me. He knew he did a terrible job the last time when people really thought he'd break out and take on Mitt Romney, and he was incredibly wobbly and ill-prepared. And he wants to show people that he's up for it. And by the way, this is America, and why shouldn't you run if you want to run?
What about that, Caroline?
Well, as long as you have $100 million, yeah, why shouldn't you run? I mean, this is not a contest that is open to everybody. It's a myth that is the case. And I think that's really reflected in the lack of socioeconomic diversity of our candidates on both sides of the aisle.
Are you talking about Hillary Clinton?
Racial and gender. I'm talking about every single candidate in the race. Okay. Every single candidate in the race. So let's not act like this is a job that's open to an average everyday Americans, because it's not. Our system is broken.
She's the big money candidate in this race.
She and Jeb Bush are the big money candidates in this race.
And we will leave it there. Got to run. Caroline Hillman, Matt Schlapp, always good to have you with us. Thanks so much. That's the Ed Show. I'm Ed Schultz. Politics Station with Reverend Al Sharpton starts right now.
Thanks to you for tuning in tonight on Politics Nation. Breaking news from the Tamir Rice investigation in Cleveland. The case handed over to a prosecutor. What happens next? And will there be charges? Also, chilling new details emerged on the terrorist suspects in Boston. Tonight, an alleged beheading plot and a plan to kill police officers. Plus, how the feds tracked them down. And the fight for voting rights across the country, why it could be a central part of the Hillary Clinton campaign. We begin with breaking news. Will there be charges for the Cleveland police officer who shot and killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice? The local sheriff announced today his office has finished its investigation into Tamir's death. In a statement, he said